Just right off the rip, no lube. People know why they're here. I like this episode. I think this episode's pretty good. It's like I said before, it's very character driven. So if you don't like the characters, this obviously isn't the show for you. One thing I will say that I really like about Asa that like I've learned about her like instantly is that she's a girl's girl. One of my favorite scenes is when one of the new characters shows up, Daigo. She starts talking about like this crush she had on this man, and then she starts reminiscing about it, and she slams her fist on the table and she's like, that bastard. Which I thought was really funny. It's very clear that Asa immediately stops what she's doing and she gets little sparkles around her because she's very, very interested into hearing this boy drama, to the point where Daigo needs to look at her. She's like, don't stop. Keep stirring. What are you doing? You know? And then the other moment where Makio is about to leave to go hang out with Kasamachi. What's his name?
Everyone's laughing at you.
Yeah.
Everyone's laughing.
I know. I already forgot. I literally already forget his whatever his name is. The dude.
It's Kasamachi.
Kasamachi. Thank you. When she
It's not even complicated.
Shut up. When she's leaving to go see Kasamachi, she immediately points out. Asa points out to Makio. She's like, "Oh, you look beautiful. You look amazing. You don't normally dress like this." And like,
ちょっと出かけてくる。夕飯は何か買って。え？綺麗。いつもと全然違う。どうも。
Again, that's a very girl attitude. And that's something I really enjoy about Asa. So far, I think Asa is my favorite. I think we might differ there. But yeah.
I have a hot take.
All right, let me hear your hot take.
I think this episode was considerably better than the first episode, and I liked it significantly more.
I mean, that's fair.
To the fact that I now like the show.
Oh.
And now I will say the show is good. I like it. I will say the show is like a criticism of like a lot of Iyashike, or not Iyashike, fucking what was it? Nichijou, sort of like club slice of life anime. A criticism you see a lot amongst people who don't kind of like those types of shows is that they're too exaggerated, right? Mm-hmm. They're too I guess saccharine might be the right word, but they're too like hyper reality in terms of like what we perceive to be like anime, where the characters are more like exaggerated and stuff. Mm-hmm. And personally, I like that stuff, so that's it's fine for me. But I think this show is interesting in where it is deliberately being more muted. It's being more real, with how more natural with how people actually are, and I think that's fun. And I think it's fun to see that kind of style of slice of life, but taken in a different direction with the characters and stuff. And like you said, I thought that was a really cute interaction, and it's not like super explosive in your face. It's just like more smaller, but they feel more intimate in certain ways that I appreciate. So now that I've gotten, because like the first episode's mood is like very different from this episode, because now we've sort of gotten to like the status quo. Yeah. I assume with how like the show will progress forward with hints of like melancholy and sadness and stuff there, which are good stuff. But I way more appreciate this, where it's just like most of it's like pretty happy for the most part, with moments of melancholy and like longing and like thinking and contemplating about emotions and stuff. And what was presented in this episode was fun. I really like Makio. Makio took like a really big focus, I think, especially like with the talks of like, oh man, what are we gonna do about like money? And then like her talking about with her ex-boyfriend, which I thought that scene was fun.
Mm-hmm. Was one of the big changes for you just the introduction of more characters? Like the Daigo, was it that sold it for you, or was it just like the more of a focus?
It was Daigo. Almost immediately when Daigo came on, I was like, wait a minute.
I like this show. This show is good, actually.
This show's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate
Daigo is super fun. She's a really fun character. I like her little vocal stem of like going like, wow, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That was fun.
Yeah, and then Asa comments at being like, that's crazy. It's not that crazy. It's like, what are you talking about? That's not
that was
crazy.
Fun too. That made me like Asta. That was maybe like, oh, this is a little autistic
like,
girl.
She's a little autistic, yeah. Because she's like clearly not used to dealing with adults like this. Like when she hears them talking again, instead of like ending up in a desert, now they're like in India or somewhere. And something that like I kind of like a little side
way
note.
Worse, am I right?
Yeah. Shut up. One thing that's worth pointing out that I thought was a little bit interesting. Even though I don't know anything about the attire out there, I could immediately tell that Daigo was wearing something feminine while Makio was clearly wearing a more masculine attire, which I'm more than sure is like very intentional. And I think that that's just like how Asa sees it, and she's not wrong. And one thing that I will say that I like about this anime is that even though you would think the easy route that you could go down to make these characters really stand out from each other is to make the other one very dour and the other one much more happy. But I appreciate how much Makio really is like fun, loving, and has like an easy time communicating her feelings when it's with a friend who is very bombastic and loud. She's taking pictures of Asa and making her look like a Shiba Inu, because they were arguing originally on what kind of dog she was. And then when she mentioned she had a dog, and she would always give them the cores of like whatever vegetable they had, and then she tried giving it to Asa, and Asa's like, "I'm not a dog," you know. So I really appreciate about that. She's very fun, and I think the easy route that would have been, again, it would have been very easy to just make her very dour to contrast these characters. But I appreciate that they show like no. Makio is fun so long as she's around a personality that she's very used to, and one that like brings it out of her too, because obviously Daigo is very fun, loving, loud. And it helps bring it out of her, which, you know, I like. A lot of people are like that in real life. You kind of just need that person to bounce off of. And it made it easier for those two characters to talk, which, again, is another like parallel to real life. Sometimes you need that glue that holds the friendship together. And once it's there, suddenly they're a lot more easy and fun-loving, you know? It's really good. Yeah. I really enjoy Daigo's inclusion.
As a personal anecdote, usually when I'm by myself, I don't send death threats. But when I'm around my friends, usually I feel emboldened to threaten them.
Yeah, I'm posting a screenshot here. Posting multiple screenshots, actually. More have just popped up on screen right now. Oh, man.
One thing that I really liked about this episode, I guess like this would be the theme of the episode, I would say, or at least like a point of contention that the episode wanted to bring about, is like there's the similarities between Makio and Asa, where they make like several verbal mentions of it, or like several mentions of, like, that you can pick up yourself of like characteristics that they both share and they both talk about. I think the most interesting one is like the idea that they're always thinking about the sister / mother of Asa and sister of Makio, where both of them are going to like going back in their heads and thinking about that person in their lives, which I think is interesting. Especially at the end of the episode, where it's like where there's like a little like near the ending, like it's presented in Makio's perspective of like her imagining that she always goes back to her sister, like in her mind, and always thinks about like those moments and how that affected her in the present, even after she's dead.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed that like, oh, Asa was reading the book, and so really this was from Asa's perspective the whole time. But it's interwoven where like it's basically both of their perspectives, which is fun and interesting.
Yeah, and something interesting worth noting there is the fact that when Makio mentions that there's no pressure and that they're going to team up now, and whenever she's sad to let Makio know, and whenever Makio is sad, she'll let Asa know, and she says no pressure. And, or don't pressure me, I think is what she said. So don't pressure me into doing that because I'm not good with my emotions. Asa kind of just brings up the fact that, like, her mom used to berate her. And I forget exactly the specific line that she said to her, but she's like, why can't you do like the simplest of things? Why do you struggle on doing something so easy? And it was clear that Asa brought that up and handled it very easily. She is in fact smiling when she's mentioning this. But Makio, on the other hand, she clearly is still affected by this. And it clearly has some kind of writer's block as a result, because like obviously Makio's sister, Asa's mom, had judged her about her wanting to write in the past, and she thinks about it a lot when she's trying to write. And I think it's just like really interesting that it seems that Makio's the trauma that she assumes that Asa might have, she has herself. Like it's like just projection. Like she really is affected by the shit that her sister had told her in the past. She mentions that because of Asa's tender age, that she has to be really careful on what she says to her, because what she says to her might affect her for the rest of her life. Like if I say the wrong thing, I might really mess this girl up, you know? And again, I do think that's projection, because I think she had heard this from Asa's mom, and this is clearly something that's affected her up until now. And I don't even think that's up for debate. That just is the case. It just affects her writing even now. Yeah. And she's like embarrassed when someone she knows is reading her work. And hell, even when oh God, what's this guy's name again? I'm putting in a laugh track. Everyone's laughing at me.
Yeah, everyone wants to kill him.
Shut up! Tell me this guy's name. Just tell me this guy's name, will you? You dumb bastard.
It's Kasamachi.
Kasamachi. Even because she brings up something when they're in the cafe and mentions. Will you shut up, Kasamachi? She mentions how like something that she had written seems like kind of creepy. And when Kasamachi tries to comfort her and says, like, no, these people are like your children, it's not creepy at all. And she just completely sandbags him and asks for, like, a grilled cheese or something. And he goes as far as saying, are you listening to me? So she clearly is, like, embarrassed of her own writing. I don't know if this extends to, like, anyone who talked to her about her writing, or it's specifically people that she feels necessarily close to. And I think even with Asa, there is, like, that extra layer of, like, she probably sees a bit of her sister in Asa, so her reading it specifically bothers her that much more. Because as soon as she walks in, she's like, what the hell are you reading? And she was like, oh, it's this book, you know. And she's clearly like very flustered about it. And Asa catches that and says, okay, well, whatever, I'll just read it later. And again, really good.
Another neat little parallel that is that even though like Makio is embarrassed by that, the introduction of like the book thing is like her going like, I hope it sells well. I don't want like these characters, like this to be the end for these characters, because she has plans for a sequel.
Yeah.
Which even then is also another analog where it's like she does care about Asa, but is also cringe. She cringes sometimes, which is fun.
Yeah.
Which is another parallel for like the book being like raising a child in Asa. Yes. I like that the boyfriend was like the boyfriend has a really funny line where he's like, yeah, when I heard that you like took in a child, it made me a little upset because you never wanted to have a child with me.
Yeah. I'm starting the iDubbbz clip here.
Is Makio, what's that bitch's name?
Anissa?
What's that fucking stupid bitch?
Anissa? Yeah.
Yeah, Anissa Joha.
Yeah.
Is Makio Anissa Joha?
Yeah, she is. And the other guy's the Coco. Is like, what do you mean you got a kid? What the heck? He's like, I didn't want your bushy eyebrows on this child.
Part of the reason why I don't want to have a child with you is because I'm terrified if we have a girl that she's gonna have all your masculine features.
I don't want your big jaw. I want our child to be androgynous.
Yeah. Oh god, I totally lost track of what I was saying because we're talking shit.
Maki also has another funny line where she's like, "Oh yeah, I bought the apartment. Like it's been like 6 years ago."
Oh yeah, and he didn't even know that. Like he was like, "What the heck? You didn't tell? That's when we were dating." And she's like, "Yeah, whatever. I wasn't thinking about it. I was making a lot of money, bro. Like whatever, you know." Oh, and then
Makio.
Yeah, and I like that he preferences it with saying, "Listen, I need you," which is by the way, very human thing to do. I think it's like you said, I appreciate how like down to earth this is and how realistic it is with some people's interaction, but there's enough humor and jovial stuff going on to like, you know, lessen down on that effect. And it's before he mentions the thing with the child, he goes as far as saying, listen, I'm not trying to get back together with you. I need to make that clear before I say what I say, but I'm really pissed that you have a kid. What the hell is that? You know? I really like that. That's very human. That's a very human thing to do. And it's a very human emotion to have on top of that. Even though you are no longer interested in this person, you're like, why are you doing that thing you didn't want to do with me? What is your problem? You know? I like that. I like that a lot.
I like you know what I don't like about that relationship?
Huh.